Have you ever heard of a crime so brutal, so senseless, that it haunts an entire nation for decades? Tonight, we delve into a case that shook the Philippines to its core, a story of unthinkable violence, a controversial trial, and a mystery that remains unsolved to this day. This is the story of the Vizconde Massacre. The date was June 30th, 1991. In a peaceful suburban home in Paranaque City, Manila, the Vizconde family was asleep. Estrellita, a loving mother, Carmela, a bright 19-year-old college student, and little Jennifer, only 6 years old. Their world was quiet, ordinary, and safe, or so they thought. Miles away in the United States, Lauro Vizconde, the patriarch of the family, was working, completely unaware that the life he knew was about to be obliterated. When Lauro returned home a few days later, he walked into a nightmare. The scene that greeted him was one of pure horror, a sight that would break any human being. His wife, Estrellita, had been brutally murdered, suffering 13 stab wounds. Kara's eldest daughter, Carmela, had been assaulted and then stabbed 17 times. And his youngest, sweet little Jennifer, was found in her own bed, stabbed 19 times. The house was a scene of unimaginable carnage. The police investigation began immediately. The nation was horrified, captivated by the sheer brutality of what the media quickly dubbed the B.F. Holmes Massacre. But there was a strange detail that baffled investigators. There were no signs of a break-in, suggested a terrifying possibility that the killer or killers were either known to the family and let inside willingly, or they were experts at gaining entry without a trace. Despite the media frenzy and public pressure, the investigation hit a dead end. For long years, the case grew cold. The trail went silent, and it seemed the ghosts of the Vizconde family would never find justice. Then, in 1995, a bombshell dropped. A woman named Jessica Alfaro came forward, claiming to be a witness. Her story was explosive. She alleged that she was part of a group of wealthy, powerful young men who were high on drugs that fateful night. She pointed her finger directly at Hubert Webb, the son of a prominent senator, as the ringleader. According to Alfaro's chilling testimony, the group had entered the Vizconde home, intending to harm Carmela. She claimed Hubert Webb assaulted Carmela, and when things spiraled out of control, the group murdered the entire family to eliminate any witnesses. Her testimony reignited the case and captivated the country. The faces of the accused, all young men from influential families, were plastered across every newspaper. The public, desperate for justice for the Vizconde family, latched onto this narrative. It was a classic story of the rich and powerful preying on the innocent. The trial that followed became known as the trial of the century. It was a media circus, dividing public opinion and fueling endless debate. Finally, in the year 2000, nearly a decade after the murders, the court delivered its verdict. Hubert Webb and 6 of his co-accused were found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. For Lauro Vizconde, who had tirelessly fought for this outcome, it was a moment of vindication. It seemed that justice, after a long and painful journey, had finally been served. The nation breathed a collective sigh of relief. The monsters were behind bars. The story was far from over. From the very beginning, the defense team had a powerful counter-argument. They insisted that Hubert Webb could have committed the crime because he was uneven in the Philippines on June 30th, 1991. They presented evidence, flight manifests, passport stamps, immigration records, photographs, and even video recordings that allegedly placed him in the United States during the time of the massacre. They argued that Jessica Alfaro's testimony was inconsistent and that she was a coached witness, possibly motivated by a reward or protection from the government. This created a deep rift in public opinion. Was Hubert Webb a privileged monster who used his family's influence to try and create a fake alibi? Or was he an innocent man, a convenient scapegoat, sacrificed to satisfy the public's thirst for revenge? The debate raged on for years, even as Webb and the others sat in prison. The case became a symbol of a flawed justice system, where truth seemed to depend on who you believed and which side had the more compelling story. And then, in 2010, 15 years after the conviction, the case took its most shocking turn yet. The Philippine Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, reviewed the case. In a stunning decision, they acquitted Hubert Webb and all his co-accused. The court ruled that the prosecution had failed to prove their guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The justices heavily criticized the testimony of the star witness, Jessica Alfaro, describing her as unreliable and not credible. They concluded that her story was riddled with inconsistencies and that the lower court had erred in comforting the men based on her word alone. After 15 years behind bars, Hubert Webb and the others walked free. The news sent shockwaves across the Philippines. For many, it was a triumph of justice, proof that the system could correct a terrible mistake. For others, it was the ultimate betrayal. For Lauro Vizconde, it was the final devastating blow. He had spent 2 decades of his life fighting for what he believed was justice for his murdered family, only to see the men he was certain were guilty be exonerated. Lauro Vizconde passed away in 2016, his heart broken, his quest for justice unfulfilled. He died without ever knowing for certain who was responsible for the destruction of his family. The acquittal left a gaping void at the heart of the case. If Hubert Webb and the others didn't do it, then who did? The question hangs heavy in the air, a chilling echo from that horrific night in 1991. Today, more than 3 decades later, the Vizconde Massacre remains officially unsolved. No new suspects have ever been named. No one else has ever been charged. The real killers, if they are still out there, have gotten away with one of the most heinous crimes in the country's history. The case is a haunting reminder of the fallibility of justice and the enduring pain of unanswered questions. Who were the real perpetrators that crept into the Vizconde home? What was their motive? Was it a robbery gone wrong? A personal vendetta? Something even more sinister? These questions have become a part of the Philippines' modern folklore, a ghost story told to remind us that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones we never find. The truth of what happened on Vizconde Street that night vanished into the darkness, leaving behind only grief, controversy, and a mystery that continues to chill the nation to its very soul. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into one of the most perplexing cases in modern history. What are your thoughts on the Vizconde Massacre? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this story as compelling as we did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more true crime mysteries. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.